H-Town, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Welcome into the process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Subscribers, hit the notification bell. Be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. I'm here each week to break down the latest of Crimson Tide football recruiting news, so stay updated on all of that by locking in as a subscriber to our YouTube channel. Today on this episode of The Process, I do want to talk about some recruiting updates from this past weekend as the Crimson Tide did get a couple of targets and multiple recruiting classes on campus for unofficial visits and got a priority wide receiver target on campus for an official visit. I will talk about Jaylen a little bit. I also talk about some updates from a couple of major 5-star targets for Alabama in this 2023 recruiting class. So let's dive right into things today, starting with 2024 4-star running back Daniel Hill out of Meridian High School in Mississippi, who took an unofficial visit to Alabama last weekend. Hill is a 2024 running back who's a special prospect at 6'1", approximately 200 pounds, a hard-nosed running back with some decent speed on him. Had an opportunity to get back to Tuscaloosa after picking up an Alabama offer in the past. And the Crimson Tide, of course, compete against the Utah State Aggies with him in attendance. And if you guys had an opportunity to watch that game, I'm pretty sure you guys are Alabama fans, so you did an opportunity to watch that game, and you saw how the Crimson Tide were able to utilize their running back, show flashes of what they will look for in those backs during this upcoming season. And it really impressed Hill when talking about how Alabama used their backs. This quote I was able to get from him. He said he feels a lot of their backs got touches. As a player, I love to have the ball in space and make things happen, kind of like the way that they use Jahmyr Gibbs. If you guys watch that game, they constantly tried to get Gibbs in space, whether it was throwing the football to him out of the backfield or doing some zone runs or pitching the ball out of him, giving him basically the ball in space there too as well. So that was something that really stood out to Daniel Hill. In terms of the atmosphere in Bryant-Denny Stadium for their night game, he described it as a rocking crowd. He said he just started to imagine what it would feel like playing there if he chose to go to the Crimson Tide in the future. I feel Hill is going to be one of the Crimson Tide's top running back targets in the 2024 recruiting class. So them getting him back on campus for that unofficial visit on last weekend is a great step forward for the Crimson Tide and their push for the Mississippi State product. Another top 2024 prospect who visited Alabama over the weekend is Sterling Dixon, a 2024 4-star linebacker out of Mobile Christian School in Mobile, Alabama. I actually had an opportunity to meet this guy and meet him in person for the first time a couple of years ago before his recruitment really took off. That is the video that you guys are seeing right now in the video that we was able to capture, the video feature that we did on Dixon, just basically telling everyone to watch out for this kid. Right now, his offer list is absolutely crazy with offers from Georgia and offers from Alabama. Took an unofficial visit to Alabama last weekend, and he told me that it felt like home for him in Tuscaloosa. Said he really enjoyed the environment inside Bryant-Denny Stadium for that night game. Was a great time for him and his family. So the Crimson Tide are sitting in a really good position with Sterling Dixon in my mind. Definitely a guy to keep your eyes out for. I'm so excited for this kid and so happy for this kid because he's actually shaking back from a shoulder injury that he suffered in 2021. He's back in 2022 for the Mobile Christian Leopards, and he's having a great season for the Leopards so far, rushing from the edge and playing as an inside linebacker. Nick Saban told him when he offered him during the summer after a great camp performance, they actually liked him at inside linebacker, so he's getting some experience playing there for the Mobile Christian Leopards this season. His former teammate Deontay Lawson is a linebacker for the Crimson Tide at the moment. It looks like the Crimson Tide's coaching staff will look to grab another inside linebacker from Mobile Christian in the future with Sterling Dixon. Speaking highly of the Tide, with them saying it felt like home in Tuscaloosa on last weekend. in terms of another 2024 prospect to the Crimson Tide are looking at inside the state of Alabama now recently, Kavion Henderson is a guy everyone needs to know about. Henderson picked up an offer from the Tide on Friday. Henderson is a 2024 four-star defensive lineman at Leeds High School in Alabama, currently standing at 6'3", weighing approximately 233 pounds. This is a kid who I've had an opportunity to see on a couple of different occasions on the camp circuit. I think I saw him at a Dex Preps camp. Initially saw him a couple of times at the Under Armour camp. One of the things I've seen from him consistently is his body continuing to grow. Right now he's in a 6'3", 230-pound range, so he looks more like an inside linebacker. But what you guys can see from his film right now is that he actually rushes from the edge a lot. He's a guy with a quick get off, has some power to his game in terms of powering through blocks, a physical guy. I think what position he plays at the next level is kind of in the air. With them continuing to grow, continuing to get bigger, I think his final and his weight and height in the future will determine what position he plays across the defensive line. But he has the potential and the versatility to play across the defensive front in the future. He picked up an offer from the Crimson Tide's defensive line coach Freddie Roach. Roach told him about that offer before his game on Friday night. He said that Nick Saban actually watched Henderson's film recently, and that is the reason why Alabama decided to offer him. Roach actually played with him a little bit, asked him how would he feel to get an offer from Alabama, since his granddad is actually an Alabama fan. So Kavion Henderson picked up his 44th D1 offer from the Crimson Tide, had an opportunity to catch up with them as well. He said he felt blessed to get an offer from the Crimson Tide, talked about how he feels blessed because they only offer the best in terms of his opinion on Nick Saban. He said he feels that he is one of the greatest coaches. He likes that he wants to get the best out of his players in terms of the Alabama football program. So he feels that they have a great program. They are always going to have a great program and a great defense, and he plans to visit Alabama a lot in the future. So Kavion Henderson is an in-state 2024 prospect to keep your eyes on. The state of Alabama is loaded in the 2023 class, but there are some talented 2024 prospects inside the state of Alabama as well. Speaking of other talented in-state prospects who I had an opportunity to watch recently, I got an opportunity to go to Clay Chalkville game against Pale City on Friday night, which gave me an opportunity to see two top 2024 recruits, starting with Mario Craver, a four-star wide receiver out of Clay Chalkville, who has a long list of offers, including offers from Alabama, Tennessee, and others. He actually has a commitment, they said. Plans to announce his commitment on October 23rd on his mother's birthday. The Crimson Tide's coaching staff has been in contact with them since September 1st, which was the first day that college coaches were able to privately contact 2024 recruits. Craver has been in contact with the Crimson Tide's defensive line coach and Alabama area recruiter Freddie Roach a lot since September 1st, but he has also been in contact with Tennessee a lot. The Vols seem to be in a really good position with Mario Craver. If I had to predict today which school he would commit to in October, it would actually be the Tennessee Vols. He said, in his own words, he said he's not looking to be part of a winning program. He's looking to be part of a program that he can build to help win. So Mario Craver is a talented wide receiver with a lot of speed. I really like what this kid brings to the table. The Crimson Tide really seem to like him. We'll see if they can make up some ground. I think the Vols are the leader in this recruitment at the moment, but we will see if the Crimson Tide can make up some ground in front of his commitment on October 23rd. The Crimson Tide do have a verbal commitment from Perry Thompson at the moment in the 2024 recruiting class at wide receiver. Thompson is a four-star wide out of Foley High School in Foley, Alabama. Mario Craver's teammate Jaylen Mbakwe is verbally committed to Alabama. He's actually a five-star athlete in the 2024 class. An opportunity to see him in action and just basically talk to him and basically reflect back on his commitment decision to Alabama. He said he committed there because of the culture, the coaches, and he feels confident that he actually can come in and play as a freshman. Just taking a look at the Crimson Tide's future depth chart in his mind, he actually plays wide receiver and defensive back for Clay Chalkville, but Alabama likes him at defensive back. I had an opportunity to see him exclusively at wide receiver on Friday night because that is the only side of the ball that he played on Friday, and he was really really impressive. You guys are going to see some of his highlights after we go through these warm-up clips, but you saw that speed, that electrified speed that he currently has. He has a track background, has an impressive 100 meter dash time. He's a very impressive athlete. Here go a couple of those plays that we're going to roll out for you here. Just taking a look at what he was able to do, showing off that speed on his first play, getting free on a looked like a short route that he turned into a quick long game there. His biggest play happened a little bit later in the game. I'm pretty sure that will be showed here before we get off of Jaylen Mbakwe, showing he can block for the wide receiver again. Crimson Tide like him at defensive back. I think that is his natural position at the next level because he's super athletic. He's a physical defensive back. I've seen him in action there, but on Friday night, like I said, he played exclusively on the offensive side of the football. His biggest play is going to happen right here as he lined up at wide receiver once again. He's going to get the football, put the defender in the spin cycle here, make another great juke move on another wide receiver, have him frozen, grabbing for air, and then he just goes into the end zone. So it was a solid performance by Jaylen Mbakwe. Still locked in with the Crimson Tide, and Alabama fans will be happy to know that he actually has his odds on a lot of other guys in the 2024 class. Some 4-star prospect like Ellis Robinson, who he's trying to recruit to come to Alabama with him in the future, including Mario Craver. He also talked about Kavion Henderson on Friday and the opportunity to catch up with him. But like the title said, we are going to give you guys some updates on a couple of major 5-star targets for Alabama in this 2023 recruiting class, as I had an opportunity to travel to Montgomery on Thursday to watch the Carver Montgomery Wolverines take on the Park Crossing Thunderbirds, and it was a really one-sided game for the most part. But I had an opportunity to see James Smith and Mbakwe Russaw in action, and both impressed me. I've seen both of them in action in the past, so I know what they bring to the table. But it was another great game, another refresher for me just how talented these guys is. As you guys see, James Smith, like I always talk about when I describe his game, violent, physical defensive lineman, a guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder, always looking to make the play as a defensive lineman. Carver Montgomery used him as an edge rusher and is in as an interior guy on Thursday night, but I think he's going to find his home as an interior guy in the future. I think he is better at that at this particular point in his development. But in terms of their recruitments, of course, they are down to 6 schools at the moment. They are going to take multiple official visits during the football season. They will officially visit Florida. They will take an official visit to Florida when the Gators take on the LSU Tigers. They will also officially visit Ohio State. No date is locked in for that, but they are looking at officially visiting the Buckeyes, along with officially visiting the Crimson Tide, most likely in December. They do plan to be early enrollees, so they will most likely announce a commitment decision around National Signing Day during the early signing period. Just taking a look at their current calendar. It's not really a concrete calendar, but just taking a look at how things will most likely fold out for them just based on their plans at the moment. Alabama will be the last school to get them on campus for an official visit before they make a decision in December, most likely on National Signing Day. Both talented guys. Really like what I seen out of Mbakwe Russaw as well. The 5-star linebacker basically rushed from the edge for most of the game, and he really showed a lot of patience. I watched him play on last season, and he seemed to take a step forward in his game in terms of knowing what he needs to do on each snap. In this particular matchup, he seemed to know when to stay at home, when to just bring out the full-on rush from the edge. Played really well in the space, as you guys can see. Did not lose the outside containment at all throughout the night, so I really like what I seen out of Mbakwe Russaw. I think the Tide are in a really good position with both. Really hard to tell who is the leader in their recruitment. I wouldn't say Alabama is the leader right now. I think the Tide still have some work to do. Ohio State may be the dark horse, but I think they are the team a lot of people are not paying much attention to in their recruitment. I've had an opportunity to talk with Russaw about Ohio State. He said he has a great relationship with their defensive line coach, and that's one of the reasons why the Buckeyes are listed in their top 6. I think this is more so an Alabama, Florida, Auburn battle that could come down to an Iron Bowl recruiting battle in the future. In my opinion, that is what it is looking like. I think Auburn is a real threat for both of these guys, but the Tide are in a really good position with both. They did confirm with me that they are indeed a package deal just based on their relationship, the brotherhood that they have built. I know we hear a lot about package deals on the recruiting trail. A lot of those package deals do not go through, but I feel really confident in this package deal because I've seen these guys' friendship in person, live, just watching them in game action, also watching them train at Madhouse Training, actually going back to when I attended Curtis Perry's top 10 party at his house. Those guys were together a lot, basically pulled up together for that event. So if there was ever a package deal that I felt would go through, this is the package deal that I feel the most confident about. But that is the update I wanted to provide on James Smith and Kavion Henderson. Also back target Bryce Thornton out of Milton High School in Georgia, who had an opportunity to see earlier in the season. That is why he's wearing the Alabama gloves in this video. Many feel his recruitment is down in Alabama and Florida, as the Gators seem to have a lot of momentum on the recruiting trail after beating the Utah Utes. Actually hosts 5-star cornerback Kamani McLean on last weekend, and many feel that the Gators are surging in this recruitment. But turning our attention to Bryce Thornton, does have an official visit locked in with the Gators and locked in with Alabama. Will officially visit Alabama when the Crimson Tide take on the Texas A&M Aggies, but that will not be the only visit that he goes on to the University of Alabama during the fall. He actually plans to be in Alabama in September, on September 24th, when the Crimson Tide take on Vanderbilt. So the Tide will get one of their top safety targets on campus 2 times before he will most likely announce a decision in November. Definitely a guy to keep your eyes on, a talented safety playmaker on the back end from Milton High School, a guy who's a willing tackler, come down to help and run support as well. So that is the update I wanted to provide on Bryce Thornton. But the last thing I want to talk about today concerns the Crimson Tide's matchup with the Texas Longhorns on this weekend, because I feel this game could have a major impact on both teams' recruiting efforts. Let's take a look at it from the Texas perspective. They will most likely invite as many high-profile prospects to the University of Texas on this weekend because Alabama's coming to town. Alabama's going to bring the top recruits to town. This is a big game. College game day is going to be there, so I expect the recruiting visitor list to be a very impressive one, just taking a look at how much hype this game is getting. So Texas is going to try to get as many of those guys to campus, specifically guys inside the state of Texas. We all know everything is bigger in Texas, including high school football. The talent there is always going to be there, so they are for sure going to get a lot of talented in-state prospects in town, hopefully to try to pull off the upset. And if they can pull off the upset in front of these guys, I think that will shine a very bright light on the Texas program and Steve Sarkisian in their future with the Crimson Tide in Texas, most likely battling it out a lot more in the future in terms of future recruiting classes like the 2024 and 2025 class. They are going to bump heads a little bit here in this 2023 class, taking a look at guys like Jaylen, but more so in those future recruiting classes in the 2024 and 2025 recruiting cycle. But on the flip side, Texas is going to bring some talented recruits to Austin on this weekend. And a lot of these guys have probably not seen Alabama in person, specifically some of those guys in the 2024 and 2025 recruiting classes. They will have an opportunity to see Alabama in person, and I'm pretty sure if they have been paying attention to college football, they know what the Alabama football program stands for, and they will have an opportunity to see those guys live in action if the Crimson Tide put up a dominant performance against the Longhorns. I guess that works against the Longhorns in terms of the recruiting space. So I think this game does have a lot of impact on both teams' recruiting efforts. Just gives the Crimson Tide an opportunity to show what they can do in front of a lot of Texas area recruits. Also, Texas is going to try to go for the upset, and I think that's going to shine a very bright light on guys who are not even in the stadium, but specifically for the guys who will be in attendance for that matchup. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are looking forward to seeing these two historical college football programs go after one another on Saturday at 11 a.m. Game is set to be broadcast on Fox. But that is what I wanted to talk about on this episode of The Process. We did get to a lot today, but thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, subscribers, hit the notification bell. be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. Also, go to our website, touchdownalabama.com. Stay updated on all the latest Alabama football recruiting news. And be sure to become a subscriber as well so you can get access to all of our in-depth recruiting coverage, all of our subscriber-only articles. Then head to the Google Play Store if you have an Android device to download the Touchdown Alabama app. If you have an Apple device, be sure to go to the Apple App Store. The app is located there as well. In that app, you can get breaking news notifications from the staff here at Touchdown Alabama. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama.
Process.